That's 70% or 700 and
Chairman
something.
Avard, I don't say, the records do.
Right, it's in, yes, all right, the records say this. In fact, the record, it comes from your attorney then, Mr. Collins. 70% or 733 supported the commercial redevelopment of the property. And well over 100 letters of support were received by the town clerk. These figures were brought out in 2007 and were highly questionable.
Questionable by whom?
Please let me finish. Having included response to a series of one-sided mailings, complete with stamped addressed envelopes. Furthermore, while largely unsolicited responses opposing the inn's plan were whittled down by the inn's auditors, the ones you refer to, Ramble and Ramble. For instance, they knocked out a block of people because they only objected to the height and were therefore considered not to be part of the numbers of those opposing a better hotel. Furthermore, Ramble and Ramble failed to audit the support letters because what they described as discrepancies. How the citizens of this town really feel about the inn's proposals was clearly demonstrated at the council election back in March, when Stella Jordan and Susan Lillybeck, promising to uphold the town's current comp plan and building height codes, each received more than double the votes of the inn's loquacious lobbyist Isabella Ralston-Chan.
Chairman,
that was...
is this a statement from you?
Can I ridicule you now?
No.
Well, you're ridiculing me.
I am not ridiculing you. I am not
to do with this planning board.
I am...
And if
Chairman,
it has
is
nothing
this
to
your
do
statement?
with this
Keep
planning
quiet.
board.
I am answering
Okay.
Mr. Paloka's point about the support back in 2007
It's not a referendum.
for the inn.
Chairman Avard, was that your statement?
I just read what I said, it's on the record, yes.
Well, let's ask about
Was that
this.
your statement or was that
Mr.
someone
Ethics.
else's?
This
I'm
is
asking-
mine, this is my...
It's yours.
This is my comment.
Can we
on
comment
your
about Ms.
figures
Jordan's
of the
ethics?
support.
You
That's
said,
fine.
you said the figures were questionable.
I question, yes, because
So
of
you
the...
question.
I question...
I'm asking you a
Peter,
question,
will you
sir.
let me answer
What's he
your
gonna
I
question?
haven't asked one yet.
You asked me whether it's my point of view or not.
Correct, and you answered that. May I
Right.
ask you a follow-up
Right,
question?
sure.
You thought those figures were questionable.
Yes,
Who did you raise your concerns to?
I raised them at the... I read this out and made the point at the final hearing
Did you
in
come?
2007 at the council meeting. At the second hearing, I read all this.
You read the statement at the council hearing, which
Yes.
means that it was after you had finished reviewing it as the chairman of the planning board. So while you were
I was
reviewing
not-
it as the chairman of the planning board,
Peter, I was
you
not...
never raised these concerns to the applicant?
Peter, I was not the chairman of the planning board then. I was not even on the planning.
The integrity of this analysis has never been questioned. And if you had any doubt, you should have contacted the applicant or your town staff.
I made a long address bringing all these points up at that meeting of the council, the second hearing in 2007. It's on record. I can give you a copy of it if you want it.
The statements regarding the CPA firm not conducting an analysis on the supporter letters,
It's
you
in,
said was
the,
because of discrepancies. That is not true.
it's in Rample and Rample's letter.
The information that you quoted regarding the support is not accurate.
Right.
I'd like to set the record straight with regard to the height, because Member Schulmeier mentioned the number 16.
Yes.
We have never put an application in to the town of South Palm Beach for a proposal of a project that's 16 stories tall.
No. that it was 14 stories. The 16 stories was in your original presentation, but no application was made in 2006. The 2007 was 14 stories.
And what the council ended up voting to deny in October of 2007 was not that 14-story building, it was the planning board's recommendation height, which was no taller than the tallest building in town. That's what the council voted down then, and that's what the council basically voted down in October of 2009, to which the specific height was 97.8 feet, or basically a 9-story building, which is as tall as the buildings that you, Chairman Navarre and Member Robinson, live in.
From my recollection, which is pretty accurate, at that meeting you just mentioned that the planning board recommendation that there should be a building no higher than the highest building in town. That was put to the council, but the council rejected your proposal for a 14-story building. The council rejected that, and they did not even address the highest building in town. They voted unanimously to deny your application.
Once again, Chairman Navarre, your facts are wrong. The record clearly shows what the council voted on, and what the council voted to deny then was a building that was to be no taller than the tallest building in town.
I don't accept
Again,
that.
the recurring issues that keep coming up are like the 16-story building, which was never applied for. The gentleman that came up to speak earlier mentioned that he didn't support what we were applying for, basically because he didn't want changes to the comp plan for the town. Let me emphasize that what we're proposing aren't comprehensive plan changes for the town. These text plan changes only apply to the hotel property, and they only apply to it so that the property may be redeveloped. That's all.
I would like to address this. The 2 points that really that I am most opposed to in these proposals. I agree with other people who said the same thing. I do not object to the establishment of a hotel that suits the character of this town and is no higher than the heights allowed multi-story buildings in current land development codes which were established back in the mid-1970s. That is 60 feet, or as it was changed to, 60 feet plus 1 story of parking. 3 buildings since I have been there on that side. Please let me finish.
If I heard you
Please
correctly,
let me finish. On that side of the road with a 3600, which is 60 feet from street level to flat roof. The dune deck, which is 60 feet from street level to flat roof. And the La Ponce, which is 60 feet from street level to flat roof. And if you're using, how the town ever approved the building of Concordia East, I don't know. But if you use it as a yardstick, accept the fact that the site that is built on is more than twice the size of yours, and the side setbacks are 56 feet, which brings me to the side setbacks. And I don't want to go into the whole thing about the misprint in the code regulations.
Chairman Navarre, may I address your point?
Please let me finish.
Remember what you
I
said.
let you speak, let me finish. The misprint in the code regulations, you know, this came up in 2008. was that the side setbacks would be 110 feet on either side, and we realised there had been an error in the printing, and the planning board agreed at that time that qualification, that extra bit, should be deleted, leaving it at 10 feet. But I saw that only as a temporary measure, and the town council assigned the planning board to go back to find the original that had been misprinted, and it declared that not an extra 5 feet added to the width for every 1 foot in height above 40 feet, but to be 5 feet extra for every 10 feet above 40 feet. Now, even if you accept the fact that that original change made by the planning board, that the side setbacks would be 10 feet, that applies to 60 feet high buildings. It does not apply to 90 feet high buildings. And I find that those two factors in the proposed amendments to be the most offensive and the ones that I would vote against. Now, if no one has anything else to add, I think we come to this point, which I think is important, because we can make a motion tonight.
Chairman Varga,
Please, let me finish. The thing is, I really want, and I have to ask this, has the town done enough to, as required, seek and encourage public participation? You get one of these notices, the kind of notices that the town uses, which are very formalised. Public notice, this one here. Public notice, which went out 2 weeks before this meeting. So we have here tonight only 5 people speaking, and we have no written comment. Only a few citizens took the trouble to get the details from the town hall of what was going to be discussed tonight. And the thing is, should we now, and I'm asking the members of the board this, should we now seek written comments on what has been revealed tonight so that they can be added to the verbal comments we will be forwarding to the council? On the other hand, since this application is substantially the same as those presented last year to the planning board and the council, which brought a flood of comments, as you can see from that package, should those comments simply be added to what we have heard tonight? If so, with Christmas and the New Year upon us, should we meet again in 5 or 6 weeks to respond, by which time most of our residents will have learned of what has transpired from the Coastal Stars January issue, and to a certain extent from one of the timely status reports the town is required to distribute to condos and co-ops, etc. Now, I would like the board's opinion on this, and it's important, is whether we make a motion tonight either to the council, either to recommend to them the acceptance and approval of your proposed amendments or not. And I really